Welcome back to 15 and Counting. We just recapped the Kentucky game and previewed the Arkansas game for this upcoming weekend. And now, Ivan, you and I, it's time to go to some SEC and national action that will be taking place around college football this weekend. You ready to start?
Yes, sir.
Let's do this then. And the first game that is on the docket for the SEC, we got number 22 Florida takes on number 14 Missouri. We got Will Muschamp versus Gary Pinkel. We got Tyler Murphy versus the Missouri defense. Missouri is without James Franklin. He suffered a second-degree separated shoulder in the 48-26 victory against the Georgia Bulldogs on last week. Ivan, how much does this hurt Gary Pinkel in the Missouri offense?
Hurts them drastically right now. I thought they could actually have a chance to win the SEC.
They were 6-0. They became bold eligible after this win.
They made a statement, and all in one Sunday swoop is gone. And you have to feel sorry for Missouri because they're trying to do what A&M did last year, shock the world, be a team that nobody expected them to do good in the SEC their first couple years. But this season they're doing a lot more. And it's just, you feel bad for them because you expected a lot, of course, from Missouri already, but you didn't expect this much. And you didn't expect James Franklin to do what he did. And you didn't expect this team to do what it's doing right now. And you didn't expect them to go into between the hedges and destroy Georgia as they did.
Now, be that as it may, Aaron Murray had nobody to throw the ball to, but still, you did not expect that to happen by the Missouri Tigers. So now, how much pressure does this put on the Missouri running game and receivers of Damian Washington and Doyle Green Beckham?
Puts a lot on them. It puts a lot on them because you just don't know what's going to happen now. You don't know who the next person is going to go down is. You don't know if there's going to be an injury down. You don't know if there's going to be.
Hopefully, it will not be the Georgia domino effect.
I know, but you never know what's going to happen. I just think that it's been too much for them to handle.
On the flip side, here we got the Florida defense, one of the best defenses in college football, right with Alabama, and giving up a very minuscule amount of points this season. Will Muschamp has done a phenomenal job with this defense. But now, after the 17-6 loss against LSU, Tyler Murphy, you're going up against Missouri. If you're Will Muschamp, Ivan, do you still have Tyler Murphy deal with short routes first, then get the long routes, or you're looking at your redshirt junior first-year starter and telling him, take your shots when they're there?
I don't think last week's loss was on Murphy.
I thought he moved the ball pretty well.
He moved the ball pretty well. It's his receivers last week didn't seem like they knew what the play calls was, or they didn't know what they were doing.
I saw that.
I saw at least several plays where he threw it at their backs, and they didn't even attempt to turn around and look at the play. And he didn't want to question them because he knows he's new to this, and he feels like he wants to take on more responsibility and take on more of the blame. But with that being said, the receiving corps is going to step up as a whole, and I believe if they can do that, they easily could have beat LSU last week. They've had a couple key drops in the red zone last week that hurt them.
Well, before we get to the prediction of this game, Ivan, Florida likes to run the football. So how big will running backs Matt Brown and Matt Jones will be in trying to take pressure off Murphy, try to aggravate that Missouri defense, and try to give Florida a bounce-back game?
They'll be key. Obviously, Missouri has a good pass defense, but we didn't really see Georgia because Georgia didn't have any of their running backs last week. I just don't see. I don't see Florida easily getting this game because everybody's thinking that this game will be what Missouri did to Georgia. Ironically, Florida's going to do what Georgia did. What happened to them the previous week was
it's a flip-flop.
So I just feel like this game, it's not going to be a flip-flop though. I feel like it's going to be a good game. It's going to be a close game. Missouri's backup is more than capable. Last week he showed still will hold that offense up.
Matty Mock did do pretty good.
He did pretty good, and he showed that. Yes, we lost one of our key players. Yes, we lost the star of our team, but we can still rebound from it and still win the SEC East. We're roll eligible already.
So predictions, Ivan, Florida, Missouri, let's go.
I see Florida winning this game. Actually, correction, I'm going to go with Missouri on this game.
Oh my! You pulled the old Eli Manning, Philip Rivers. I'm picking you. No, I'm gonna pick you. You can overhit.
I'm gonna go with Missouri in this game. It's a game that can be flip-flop either way. I say Missouri will win it. Score 28-24.
Oh, close one. I like that. I like that. You're going to go with Missouri. I'm going to go with Missouri as well. Will Muschamp has a great defense. Florida has a well, solid, jail-built defense, but defense can only do so much. And I think that Matty Moore and Missouri, they're playing for James Franklin. Because James Franklin has done a phenomenal job before the injury. They're going to play for James Franklin. I feel that Dorial Greenback and Damian Washington and that running back core, they will each step their game up for the Missouri Tigers. And I think Mizzou will continue to send a statement that it was Texas A&M last year. We waited our moment. They're like DJ Drama. We're taking it this year. So I'm going to go with the Missouri Tigers, not 28-24, but I'm going to go with Missouri 28-14. I'm going to go with the Missouri Tigers. Game number 2 on the dock, we have the Circus Show. Number 7, Kevin Sumlin and Johnny Manziel. I'm a Texas A&M Aggies going up against Gus Malzahn, Nick Marshall, Trey Mason, and the quietly productive, they're number 24 in the nation right now. Those Auburn Tigers. Hello. No one's talking about them, Ivan. They have creeped into the top 25.
Yeah, and I know being here at University of Alabama, we're not supposed to say this, but it's well overdue. Auburn should have been ranked already. The fact that the poll
it is well overdue.
The fact that
you're giving the Flying Eagle and the Auburn Tiger well overdue.
Northern Illinois was ranked 23rd before they reached.
Okay, I get it.
That's something that I couldn't believe. An SEC team is ranked not even ranked, and you have Northern Illinois as 23rd.
All they have is Jordan Lynch.
And that's all they have, literally. That's all they have. So that's why I say it's well overdue right now. And they're in the poll. This is a big game for Auburn. This is a statement game for Auburn right now. Obviously, they showed that they could hang them. They beat Ole Miss. That was a big win for them. Obviously, not anymore. A&M was more the upper echelon talent right now with Johnny Manziel and Mike Evans and them over there. Obviously, A&M's coming off a very emotional game too as well against Ole Miss.
Let's talk about that game. Ivan, Johnny Manziel, you just can't stop the kid. He gets injured, knees buckle, he rolls on the ground for like 10 minutes, puts a brace on, hops around, coach, put me back in the fight. He goes back in the pain and balls hard.
He did. He stepped up last week. It was the first game where I saw him stepped up, and I was pleasantly surprised. To be honest, I didn't expect him to do what he did last week.
Bo Wallace also stepped up after trash talking Alabama and getting shut out and smacked. Goes down against Ole Miss and pulls his best Johnny football impersonation. Bo Wallace had a good game. Ole Miss had the lead up by 14 at one point, but the defense, once again, they're young, and Denzel Kimdichie, the defense couldn't hold on to that lead, and of course, A&M won the game 41-38.
Yeah, and you had your bold statement for today, so my bold statement right now is going to be Johnny Manziel has made more of an impression and more of a mark on this season than Aaron Murray has at Georgia right now. I believe that one win against Ole Miss was more than all the wins that Aaron Murray has had this entire season. That's including the Tennessee game. I just believe that Ole Miss, you were down by 14. Unlike Aaron Murray, they weren't really ever down. They were just trying to hold a lead. And he couldn't do that. And then they really had to come up. They had to come back, yes, on that final drive with a minute and some change left. But still, I believe that game compared to what Manziel had to do last week with the injury, with his team needing him to step up and do what he does best, he stepped up and he did it. So that's going to be my post statement for this week.
So, Ivan, prediction time. You have Auburn, you have Texas A&M, Auburn team getting back on the rise, going back, trying to get back to the years of Cam Newton, of course, Jason Campbell. And you have Texas A&M, who's continuing to be the surprising team in the SEC. The Circus Show Manziel versus the man who wrote the book on spread offense, Gus Malzahn. Who are you going with?
I'm going with Texas A&M this week. I believe it'll be a score of 38-24. I just believe Auburn can put up points, but again, they did the same thing against LSU. LSU's offense is a little bit too much for them to handle. And I believe that's going to be what's going to happen this week with A&M. I believe that A&M's offense is going to be a little bit too much for that Auburn defense to handle. Yes, they will hang around. Yes, it'll be interesting. And I believe, shockingly enough, this will actually be one of the more physical games you see all week.
It may just be you're going to go 38-24.
Yes.
You're going 38-24 in the favor of Texas A&M. I too am picking the 12th man of Kyle Field, the Texas A&M Aggies, but I'm picking them by the score. I'm going to get the boys this week. I'm going to pick the score of 40-21. I'm picking 40-21, and the reason why Manziel is going to have his game. But this game is going to come down to also the running backs. Can Christian Michael and Ben Molina have a productive game on the ground? Mike Evans is 6'5". He's going to do what he has to do. But for Auburn will put up points. But if Auburn's defense it is not going to be enough to try to handle Manziel and to handle the running game and the receiving core of Texas A&M. I'm going to go with the Texas A&M Aggies 40-21. Malzahn will play hard. He will get those boys ready to play. But Kevin Sumlin and that air raid offense, is it a sight to watch or what? That air raid offense is a sight to watch. I'm going to go with A&M 40-21. Next game here, final game in the NCC docket, we have the hack, Les Miles, the unpredictable. Go for it on 4 guys. I don't care what the score is. Les Miles and a different Zach Mettenberger mixed with that ground and pound of Hilliard, Alfred Blue, Jeremy Hill, receiving core of Odell Beckham Jr. and Jarvis Landry versus Ole Miss, Hugh Freeze, Bo Wallace, Jeff Scott. Has Jeff Scott dropped a little bit more on your Heisman polls?
Unfortunately, yes. I drank a little bit too much of the Jeff Scott Kool-Aid after the Vanderbilt game, and I do apologize.
He suffered from that hangover. He got tremendously suffered from that hangover.
I'm mad enough to admit I was highly wrong. I thought Jeff Scott would be one of those players that could shock the NCAA world, and he shocked me by not doing anything.
But this week we have MSU and Ole Miss. Does this be the game that Ole Miss gets back on the winning track, or do we see once again MSU, physicality, ground and pound, John Chavis in-your-face defense, and Ole Miss crumbling?
This will be the game where Ole Miss actually makes noise and they shock. No, they don't. This won't be the game at all. This will be
not so fast.
Not so fast. This will be another game. This is going to be the heartbreaker for Ole Miss this season. This game will be the statement game for LSU. It's getting near that time of year for everybody's favorite SEC game, Alabama versus LSU. The game that's the most physical, the game that has the most competition, the game that's been the most
The game that has the most ratings.
The game that has the most ratings. It's getting around that time. And as I said earlier in the Alabama-Arkansas pregame, this is going to be a game where both teams now know they're coming up on the horizon of their big game against each other. Both teams are highly ranked right now. This is going to be the game Ole Miss regrets talking about anything, doing anything this season. This is going to be the game Ole Miss is just going to get annihilated, I believe.
This should be the game that Bo Walsh should not be on Twitter. Nobody should be on Twitter. They should all be watching film. This game right here. Prediction time. The hat, Hugh Freeze. Let's do it, Ivan.
LSU does have the ability to put up points. So with that being said, I'm going to say my final score will be 48-14. I just don't see Ole Miss doing anything. I know they're coming off three tough losses right now, and it's not helping right now that you have such a.
Are they hungry? They don't look hungry. They look hungry to you?
They don't really right now. Alabama, Auburn, A&M, LSU. That is a murderer's row schedule right now.
That is a gauntlet.
And they're not passing the gauntlet test right now, so I'm obviously going to pick them to get annihilated this week.
If I had to use a Joe Morinari college basketball term, they have not passed the eye test. They have definitely not passed the eye test so far, they being the Ole Miss Rebels. This week, though, they have the LSU Tigers, and like I've been stating here, I don't see Ole Miss getting this game. They can try. Bo Wallace can try. Quan Treadwell, Jeff Scott, Dante Moncrief, that defense can try. It's LSU. They're going to pound. Cam Cameron is going to look at Zach Mettenberger and say, you throw, get everybody involved. I'm going to go LSU, final score 45-10. Ole Miss just does not get the job. Is this game played in Oxford or in Baton Rouge?
I don't know, and it really doesn't matter right now. I just believe LSU's been such a team that shocked me. They shocked me this entire year after losing half their defense last year.
Just saying, Benny Logan, Tyrann Mathieu, Eric Reed, Barkevius Kiki Mingo, Kevin Benner, they lost a lot.
They lost a lot last year, and they've shocked me. But let's not fall into a trap as other teams have fallen. LSU is a good team offensively. They're a decent team defensively because they really haven't faced a high-powered offense this year yet. And I believe this could be a test of them, but I still say LSU hasn't faced anybody that's to go home and write about. I mean, they faced a Florida team who lost their starting quarterback and doesn't obviously is a defensive team. They faced, I believe, they faced a TCU team who's not known for their offense, and they had a defensive battle.
They faced a Georgia team who had everybody healthy, and it was a shootout.
Yes, so and then you see what their defense did. That was a healthy Georgia offense, and they gave up a ton of points to them.
and even at the beginning against TCU.
They were giving up points. So I just don't think this LSU defense has shown a lot yet this season.
But that would be all for the SEC predictions. Now we're going to get into the two national games for the week, Ivan. Don't have many, but the first one here, Ivan, has Heisman implications stamped all over it. We're talking about the battle of the ACC right now. Florida State at number 5, Clemson at number 3, the Little Alabama, Dabo Swinney versus Jimbo Fisher, Taj Boyd versus Jameson Famous Winston. How big of a game will this be in the ACC?
It's the biggest game. It's one of the biggest games in the ACC slate this year. Obviously, with Miami's resurgence this season,
And Virginia Tech finally playing decent after the Bama loss.
their ACC is actually looking like a very legitimate conference this year. I hate giving out bold statements. I know I'm being repetitive, but another thing that I can see is that the ACC is right up there with the Pac-12 this year for me. They are.
Oh my!
They have a lot of teams that have been unsung. I believe if you put Stanford's defense and the Stanford whole team against the Miami Hurricanes and their athleticism on offense and defense, I believe that game will be a lot closer and a lot more interesting than what
Hold
people
on,
think.
I got one. If you put Oregon's defense against Paul Johnson's Georgia Tech's triple option offense,
That would be a good game. But you put Oregon's offense against the Virginia Tech defense.
oh, I can see that. I can see that.
With the physical front seven that Oregon has, that they don't see in the Pac-12. They don't see a physical.
And a physical back five that gave Alabama issues.
So I see the ACC, but coming back to this game, it's one of the biggest games on the ACC slate. Clemson is trying to get past their reputation of being a team that they lose games that they're not supposed to lose. And obviously with this being at home, you're honestly expected to win this game. Obviously if you lose to Florida State, it's not nothing you can it's something you can rebound from easily because they're the number 5 ranked team in the nation right now. But with that being said, for this game, I can honestly see Clemson being at home this weekend, having a fortunate
The other Death Valley.
being fortunate enough to play another home game. I don't see them dominating. I see this game very, very close, obviously, with these two teams. But I'll say Taj Boyd will have a better showing than Jameis Winston because I believe Winston has had some subpar talent to play against this season so far.
With both of these two, Winston and Boyd being in the front seat along with Mariota, we'll get to Mariota in a minute. But Winston and Boyd being in the front seat for this Heisman Trophy. This game right here, who is under more pressure to produce in this game, Boyd or Winston?
Boyd, because he's been there for a while now and he's been there through the tough Clemson years. Winston has plenty of years. He's only a freshman right now. He has plenty of time to rescue if any of his reputation does take any damages. So it's a bigger game for Boyd.
Bigger game for Boyd. How big will Sammy Watkins be in this game?
He'll have to be the security blanket for Taj Boyd, and he'll have to be the guy that steps up. You have a very talented defense. Of course, they've lost a lot of players last year in the NFL draft as well, but you have to make sure he's a security blanket.
So predictions for this game, we got Jimbo Fisher, Dabo Swinney, Florida State, Clemson, the battle of the ACC, the battle of which Heisman candidate can rise to the challenge. Who you going with, Ivan?
I'm going with Clemson 34-31.
Oh, kicker!
34-31, I'm going with this game. It's going to be so close.
You're putting pressure on the kicker right now. But if the kicker misses, he's getting some mean phone calls.
Yes, and I believe it'll be Clemson's kicker that ultimately wins the game. I could see Clemson pulling this game out. They get the ball to the Florida State 30 or maybe the 25 and kick a game-winning field goal. I can honestly, I'm picturing that in my head right now as we speak. I can see that happen.
If we had a video camera in your mind, this would be great TV, popcorn room beer the works. But you're going to go 34-31 in favor of Clemson. I'm going to also pick Clemson because of what you mentioned about how Boyd has been there before, done it. This is his time. But it's not going to be 34-31. I'm going to say it's going to be 34-28. I think Clemson widens that gap out a little bit. Florida State will play tough. Their defense will come strong. Jameson Winston will prove on national stage that he was not a fluke. He will prove, of course, to Texas, hey, you should have recruited me. And I think he'll prove to the world that he is a dynamite player as a freshman. But I think Boyd knows this is my time, this is my shot, this is my opportunity. I think Sammy Watkins will come ready to play. Dabo Swinney will have the plays ready and called out. And I honestly think that Clemson will come away with this ball game 34-28 over Florida State. Next game here, and final game on the docket, not just for 15 and counting, but for games that we think will be pretty good this weekend. Jim Mora Jr., for some reason, the people in Pasadena, California are starting to believe more than Sunrise and Rose Bowl. They're starting to believe in the UCLA Bruins under head coach Jim Mora Jr. UCLA is ranked 9th in the nation, and they go up against a number 13 Stanford under head coach David Shaw that just got embarrassed by the Utah Utes last week. We're talking about physical Stanford got the wall hammered to them against Utah. How hungry does David Shaw have this Stanford team come out?
I have them pretty hungry. They'll make sure they rebound off the loss. Their quarterback, Ken Hogan, was their first loss in his collegiate career as a starter at Stanford. So obviously he's going to have to learn how to rebound off the loss for the first time in his career. With that being said, I still believe UCLA has a magical thing going over there right now.
There's something that passes in the water. It's not just this water. It's like California water.
There's something going on over there, and obviously with the loss of one of their teammates this season, they're playing for him. Obviously they're playing motivated football this season, and I believe that's really motivating them a lot. I've seen them in the Nebraska game especially. We saw that. They stepped up substantially, and they've improved substantially. They really haven't been put to test since the Nebraska first half. And I just think this is a new UCLA team, and this wasn't my preseason pick, but I still think UCLA will win the Pac-12 this year.
Oh my! Ivan White has now become the most hated man in Oregon, in Eugene, and in Palo Alto over there in Stanford, California, as he's choosing what?
I'm saying UCLA can and probably will win the Pac-12 this year. I think this is the year UCLA. Jim Mora Jr. is one of the most underappreciated coach, not in college football, but on ranks as a whole. With the Atlanta Falcons, he had a decent career there. But with the loss of Michael Vick after his off-field issues, the team obviously went downhill, and they had to get a new replacement for him. And I saw it when he was a color commentator for different media outlets. He does know what he's talking about. He's a good coach, and there's a reason UCLA hired him, because they knew he was a good coach and knew he's a good motivator.
You have just become Jim Mora Jr.'s right-hand man. For some reason, also, quarterback Brett Hundley is starting to show that he can spin the ball a little bit more. He's starting to put his name into that kind of a dark horse conversation for the Heisman Trophy. But we have UCLA and we have Stanford on the docket. Final game, Ivan. Get you a drink of water and make this prediction.
Gosh, let me see. Let me get that drink of water.
Pause for caution.
That's good. My final score. It's going to be a very physical game. I want to say 24-17 UCLA.
Oh!
Very physical game.
Okay.
UCLA's offense is a little more powerful, not strength-wise, but a little more high-potent than what Stanford's is. So that's why I was going to say my final score would be 24-17.
I'm going to go with UCL. No! I'm going to go with the Stanford Cardinal. Reason why, David Shaw, he is a bona fide Pac-12 coach. He's a bona fide college football coach. He took over this position when Jim Harbaugh left and has done a phenomenal job with it. Kevin Hogan will find a way to rebound back from this loss. I feel like Stanford's going to go back to what they do best. They're going to pound. They're going to ground. Kevin Hogan's going to do well with that play action, getting the ball out. Stanford's defense will return to physical form. I'm picking the tree. I love oxygen and carbon dioxide. I'm picking eco-friendly. I'm going to go with the tree. The Stanford Cardinal will win this ball game by a final score of, I'm going to say, 30-14. I'm picking the Cardinal over the UCLA Bruins. Jim Mora Jr., the Bruins will come out playing hard, but I'm picking the Cardinal. And for our final segment here on Vincent County, we like to play games, don't we, Ivan?
Yes, sir.
We like to have fun. We like to get the viewers out there into college football, because college football is one of the most exciting factors of the year. And as we're getting into the games that they count the most, into the critical months of October, November, where people that really want to be Heisman winners step up from among the rest here, our segment is on. People are writing about Marcus Mariota. Keep in mind, Marcus Mariota is a sophomore this year, and taking nothing from the guy. The guy is a dual threat quarterback. He can run with the rest. He can run with the best of them. He is very accurate in that pocket, completing a high percentage of his passes this year. Has a very keen, high quarterback rating. Has great touch, great zip on the football. Has become more of a vocal leader for this team. but he hasn't played anybody. Outside of a Tennessee defense who looks much better now than what they did when they played Oregon, Washington gave a little bit of a fight, but he's like Teddy Bridgewater. He has an exhibition schedule until UCLA, Stanford, and USC come strolling into town. So outside of Mariota, who do you see that is a little better, that has higher the draft stock and could potentially take home the coveted bronze trophy of the Heisman? Quarterback-wise.
Right now, in my Heisman rankings, I have Marcus Mariota 4th.
Oh my goodness, 4th?
He's 4th on my Heisman.
When Ty McShay have a 38 caliber pistol pointed towards your face.
Right now, he's 4th. My third quarterback, my third player on the Heisman race right now would be famous Jameis Winston right now.
Okay.
State.
Okay.
My number 2 would be Taj Boyd.
Okay.
And my number 1 would be Johnny Manziel right now.
You have him right back where he once was from last year.
I believe, and it's because of a number. You compare Marcus Mariota's numbers to Johnny Manziel's numbers. Yes, he does have flashy numbers, but there's one thing that Manziel has to beat on, and Manziel is really underappreciated for this. Don't get me wrong, I'm no Manziel fan, but numbers do sometimes back me up sometimes. So with that being said, Marcus Mariota's completion percentage this season is 60%. Johnny Manziel has a completion percentage of 73%.
Oh my! Who is doing that right now? And not just that. Johnny Manziel can make a broken play look beautiful. He can make a broken play as supposed to be for negative yards turns into where's Mike Evans? There he is.
And you can say he gets lucky on most of these plays, but I'm even a proponent of that. I always say he gets lucky on these plays, but it gets to a certain point to where you see him do these plays. I've never seen a broken play that he stands always end up in a dangerous result.
It goes to just sheer athleticism. And I remember when a couple of weeks ago, or either a month ago, watching the Book of Manning. I'm like, that's how Manziel gets it from. He gets it from Archie Manning, and Archie Manning was able to do that with the Ole Miss Rebels. But in my opinion, who's better than Marcus Mariota? I'm going to say Taj Boyd. I'm going to say Johnny Manziel. I'm going to throw out Jameis Winston in that conversation. But I'm also going to even throw out A.J. McCarron. And the reason why, and I know fans in Utah saying he's going to throw out A.J., I'm not being biased to Alabama. This is why. A.J. McCarron doesn't turn the ball over. When you have a quarterback right now, career-wise, that has 60 touchdowns, just 11 picks, that means for every game where he has 4 touchdown passes, he only throws 1 interception. That is remarkable. To have a quarterback that can read the defense, understand that if my guy's covered, my main guy's covered, I got to look to my second progression, third progression, fourth progression, or either throw the ball out of bounds or pull it down, pick up 4 to 5 yards and slide. That's remarkable.
Yes, it is. Yes.
That's remarkable. And for head coach Nick Saban to have the trust in A.J. McCarron to know that he's not going to turn the ball over, he's going to make the right play. And in college football, heck, you have to be a game manager. You have to recognize situations. If you don't recognize situations, if you can't decide anything, you're going to be a loose cannon and throw the ball anywhere and risk your team the game. And for the ability of A.J. McCarron not to risk his team the ball game, folks, keep in mind, he is 31-2 as a starter. His only 2 losses came against LSU. 2011 game of the century, they lost 9-6. Of course, everybody blames the field goal team, the special team for that loss. And of course, Texas A&M last season, where a valiant effort, and if Alabama would have ran the ball, which you say, if I ran the ball, we didn't make it, you would say, why didn't I pass the ball? They lost 29-24. But outside of those 2 losses, my goodness, A.J. McCarron is tearing it up. 31-2 as a starter. So I'll throw McCarron out in that conversation being better than Marcus Mariota. But be there as it may, we're not bashing the Pac-12. I mean, Marcus Mariota, come on, he's a good quarterback. Mike Helfrich has done a good job with his swag. I mean, putting the uniforms out there for Oregon. Chip Kelly has enough of talent there for Mark Helfrich to deal with the Oregon Ducks. So, in my opinion, Marcus Mariota is there as far as Heisman, but there are a few quarterbacks and a few people that have shown to be just as worthy as he is. Well, look at the time, my goodness, that is all on the day for 15 and counting once again. How great is Rama James?
Very, very good.
I mean, I'm not harping on them, not just being biased, but Rama James, I mean, people, when you talk about hospitality, when you talk about just customer service, Rama Jammers, the owner of this place, Mr. Gear, has just taken a page of my mom's book. You talk about hospitality. to the finals. And shouts out to my mother, Ruby Smith, who may be watching on YouTube this evening. Red Pajamas has done a tremendous job. And once again, we would like to thank their entire staff for having us on the day. Once again, some of the best food on this side of Tuscaloosa, on this side of the state of Alabama, can be found right here at Red Pajamas. From hamburgers, whether it be bacon cheddar burgers, fried tomato burgers, fries, pancakes, breakfast, high quality H2O, and even the salt and pepper shakers. How about that? They can all be found right here at Red Pajamas. Once again, you can catch the 15 and Counting show, the recap show, and the pregame show every Thursday right here at Red Pajamas via YouTube. You can follow Touchdown Alabama on Twitter at TD Alabama and like us on Facebook via Touchdown Alabama magazine. You can follow Ivan White and myself on our respective Twitters and Facebook. For example, my Facebook at Stephen M. Smith and my Twitter at Stephen M. Smith at ESPN_future. Ivan.
Mine's at IL White1 on Twitter, and you can also follow me on Facebook at Ivan White.
But that'll be all for today here on 15 and Counting, Touchdown Alabama Magazine's premier football show. Follow us here at Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Be sure to watch the Alabama-Arkansas game, which will be this Saturday, October the 19th, 2013, live at Bryant Denny Stadium. For host of the show, Stephen M. Smith, our co-host, Ivan White, and even our own Maxwell Town, who is right now at band. Enjoy the game, and until next time, so long everybody, and roll tide.
Roll Tide.